Hey guys, it's HMK once again with the analysis for the new Legend of Zelda Wii U The Game Awards footage. Now, if you guys saw my reaction, I was hyped out of my mind for this game. It looks beautiful, the graphics, the gameplay, the little teensy parts, and the details that Mr. Miyamoto and Eiji Aonuma gave to us that night was just so fucking great. Get ready, guys. All you games of this generation, be prepared. Your king is coming. But anyways, this is going to be the breakdown analysis of the trailer. And how it's going to work is that I'm going to be here, sitting down. And of course, the gameplay is going to be shown off in this corner of the screen. And I'll be blocking the two great minds here, Eiji Aonuma and Shigeru Miyamoto. And, you know, it's going to be me commentating on it. I'll backtrack, go forward, all that good jazz. So if I'm going to be tinkering on my computer, I'm sorry, because I'm, recording this as well I'm recording that, and it's going to be on the green screen. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I hope you guys look at some things that you may have missed when you see this trailer, because I've been watching this trailer for hours after it revealed. So how about let's get into it, alright? Let's do this shit. Alright, let us begin. First of all, we have the two great minds, Mr. Miyamoto and Eiji Aonuma. They're just chilling here, getting ready to show us what they're gonna, give us. And it looks really good. The sunset and the bloom effects, they seem that whatever they were tinkering with in the Wind Waker HD, they're taking this to 11, cranking up to 20, fucking 100 with this bloom effects. And it looks great. The sunset looks great. But I like to stop that right there and point out that a Reddit user by the name of Jar Jar Forever, not the best of names. He posted something that occurred to me last night, that, this one scene of Link looking off on a cliff into the distance with a lot of red and the mountains in the distance, it looks very, very similar to an official art from the first Zelda game. And if I can put this up here and compare it, yes, it does look like that. And, Eiji Aonuma constantly stated that this game will be drawing a lot of inspiration from the first Zelda game, with the vast world, with you're able to go anywhere, but we're gonna get that in a little bit later in the trailer. And it truly shows this Link looking off into the distance. You can look anywhere and go anywhere. The choice is yours wherever you want to go. And he seems to be portraying that in this game, something from Zelda 1. And look, he put up a beacon, which is something from Skyward Sword, and they, something that they took back from Skyward Sword, and that's cool. So when you have the beacon, obviously it's going to show you where the map is. It doesn't show you where it's lit up like it did in Skyward Sword, which is cool, but if you look at the map, which is on the gamepad, you get to see how big the fucking world is. And I thought this world was big enough in the beginning, and it zooms in and it still looks big. Zooms out again, big. Zooms out again, huge. Zooms out again, basically what this is, fucking 10 times that. And I don't want to go out on a limb and say that's the world, that's all of Hyrule or all of whatever world you're in, but that looks huge. But I want to backtrack a little bit and point out something. Now you see on the gamepad that this area, there's connected rivers and bodies of water that spill over into the ocean. And if you look around the land masses, it seems that there's a lighter shade of blue, which obviously signals for shallow land. So maybe you're able to finally go out to sea from a great land continent that is Hyrule, so you can travel these rivers, and there seems to be like 2-3 great channels of river within the land. But I don't want to say this, this is the land. But on the other side of the map, on the edge of the map that they keep talking about, it seems to be connected to the sea or the ocean with shallow waters that you might be able to walk on, or maybe able to swim through, and maybe you'll have a boat in this game, because we already know that we're going to have a horse in this game. So maybe we'll be able to explore vast reaches of this world, of this vast world. Maybe islands or something I don't know, guys, but this world is huge, and they're proving it with this trailer, with this footage, or whatever you want to call it. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna talk about a little bit about how let's get to there, and how big the world is. Walking from point A to point B is gonna take a long time for just Link. And I'd just like to point out Link. He's okay. Let me stop that right there. We have the sail cloth. The sail cloth is back, but it's functioning a lot different from it did in Skyward Sword. It functions more like the Deku Leaf in the Wind Waker, and thank goodness this is a sail cloth, not a Deku Leaf, so it won't take magic, and I'm glad for that because, of course, with this big world, the fact that you're able to use a sailcloth like that, they cannot incorporate magic into that. No way, because this world is way too big for it to rely on magic to use something like that. But I like to say that Link, once again, he is not in his particular garb of the green tunic. He still has the blue clothes, the armor, the gauntlet padding, all the clothes that we saw from the E3 trailer. He still has that, you know, but now he does have a sword and shield on his back. He did have that same, you know, a very similar sword and shield on the horse when he was, you know, running away from that big male monstrosity or whatever, but it seems that he's holding that. And what's very interesting is that he may have his quiver on his back or on his butt at all times, which is cool, but I mean, it makes it look a little bit cluttered. I hope there's a way to toggle that off, but we don't know. So you can use a sailcloth to go like anywhere the wind takes you, and we don't know if wind is going to be a factor in this game. Of course, if you're using the sailcloth, if wind is going to push you back, if wind is going to push you forward, or wind is going to be stationary and just you go to flow wherever you want. Because wind was a big deal in the Wind Waker, which used the Deku Leaf like this. So maybe we'll get to change the wind again. The Wind Waker, yes, no, we'll have to see more information later on. All right, now we're on a cliffside, and we have a horse. Now, Shigeru Miyamoto says something very interesting. Ah, Epona, long time no see. So, we basically got a confirmation that this horse is Epona. With that in mind, I like to state that Epona's first appearance as Epona was in Ocarina of Time, you know, Epona's song, whatever, and Epona was in Majora's Mask, and a different version of Epona was in Twilight Princess. So I want to go as far as to say that this game probably takes place after Ocarina of Time, after the established fact of Epona and where it comes from, so that we know that kind of context, you know, Epona, or maybe it takes place before Ocarina of Time. I don't know, that's what I'm thinking, more theories later. So we're walking, or, you know, running through a forest, which looks grand. The trees actually look like trees. They're scattered about. It actually looks like a place that you can go to in real life. It looks crazy. And Eiji Aonuma states that the horse, you don't have to like really touch the control stick when controlling the horse. It goes off on its own. So the horse may have its own type of AI, its own like self-driving feature, because he said that the horse, real horses in real life don't hit trees. Well, duh. But at the same time, he says this frees up your hands in order to aim, in order to fight on top of your horse, which you'll see in a little bit. And I'll just like to point out, once again, Link has his cloak again. So I don't know what kind of factor is this. Is this him hiding from somewhere? Is this being concealed? I have no idea, because of course he's not in his, you know, particular green tunic. He's in his, you know, cloak, blue, whatever. And you can fight on the horse, and this time you can actually shield on the horse. You know, the horse will go which way, whatever, and Link still has his cloak. But I'm getting a very, 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 very big Twilight Princess-y, you know, Twilight Princess-like, I'm getting that kind of feel from what we're seeing in this trailer. Also, at the same time, I like to point out, Link is right-handed in this. There's no motion controls, you're swinging the sword with the gamepad, but Link, once again, is right-handed in this. Will this be a big deal? Because Link is canonically left-handed in every game except Skyward Sword. Twilight Princess, he was right-handed because the game was flipped for the Wii motion control, and in Skyward Sword he was canonically right-handed because of the Wii motion control. But this has no motion controls, as we do know when it comes to the Wiimote, so why is Link right-handed again? We don't know, we're gonna have to keep pressing on. Alright, so you can shield, swing your sword, all that good jazz, because, you know, the horse is controlling itself, whatever, and you can use the bow and arrow in a greater light. You know, the horse will be going one direction, because usually in Twilight Princess or in Ocarina of Time, you have to either, you know, go one way or control the horse and shoot with the other stick or whatever. It was a very complicated thing. Not very complicated, but a little bit too complex for some. And now this is where the big kicker is. During this part of the trailer, Shigeru Miyamoto and Eiji Aonuma said that there's lots of wildlife, a lot of bug life in the, you know, the trees or the grass and stuff, and collecting bugs again, Skyward Sword, banging. But he did say that there were apples growing from the trees that you can go out and eat. So of course, if you don't find hearts or anything, you can go off the trees and harvest apples in order to eat to refill your life, maybe? That sounds balling. Or selling apples, you know, picking apples for rupees. Link, the apple harvester, Game of the Year 2015. I have no idea, but picking apples, that just shows that they're trying to make this world a living, breathing world. And what we've seen so far from this footage and the last trailer, you don't have to convince me twice. Adding in apples, you got it, man. So I just like to say fishing. Back to what I said about the sea and the ocean. Fishing, please, fishing. Alright. Now we're going to this area where it looks like an entrance of the temple. The Shigumi was hinting, is like, hey, it looks like the entrance of a temple. These two big pillars. From what we see here, I can't really see clearly because this is off-screen footage. If I had some sort of on-screen direct feed footage, I'd probably tell some sort of like hieroglyphics on the pillars or whatever, but it seems like some sort of gate, some sort of indication that the temple's nearby or dungeons nearby. So I don't know if this is going to be a continuing theme throughout the entire game, but we're going to have to find out, but that's what I'm thinking. Of course, we see two enemies. I want to say that these are advanced forms of either bokoblins or boblins. They seem to be a bit too skinny to be moblins and a bit too small to be moblins. They seem to be around Link's height, so I want to say that they're either bokoblins or boblins, how they're represented in this game. So we don't see any sword combat in this game. What we do see is arrow combat, and the enemies once again will have sweet spots, and when you hit with a sweet spot, it will have this metal sound to it saying that you did the optimal amount of damage. Now this is the big kicker, guys. Bullet time arrows in Legend of Zelda the Wii U version. This is a big kicker. Of course, we got some sort of like feel of that in the trailer of E3 where Link jumped off the horse and it slowed down for him to use that charged arrow against that mechanical monstrosity. But it seems that it's actually a thing, because I thought that was kind of like, you know, for the trailer, you know, to add some zazz to the trailer, like slow motion and then Zelda Wii U. But it seems that it's an actual gameplay mechanic. How do I feel about this? It sounds awesome as long as we don't shoot too many arrows during bullet time fire. Like, it'll be a little bit too broken. Link will be a bit too powerful. If it was just like one shot in bullet time to make sure you get the shot right, that's fine. If it was like chin 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 bullet time, nah, I'm not dealing with that. Now, so far we know that bullet time is only at when you jump off the horse. Is it going to be presented throughout the entire game without the horse, with Link sweet spotting with swords and stuff? Kind of like how dark stepping worked in No More Heroes or something like that. I have no idea, but the bullet time to me is a welcome addition to this game. And yeah, it gives you that time to aim and strike with great vengeance against enemies. You know, but it seems that this particular enemy, took like 4 critical hits to the face and it's still not down. It still hasn't had like a death animation, but it could have died off screen, we don't know. It's going to continue forward, and this area seems very, very nice. It's a very nice, dense area, and that's what we need in Zelda games. We need a dense field filled with something. And we only had 2 enemies, but that was kind of Twilight Princess's like downfall-ish type when it comes to the Hyrule Field. We need a lot more enemies in Hyrule Field, and so far we have a lot of stuff in Hyrule Field, but not a lot of enemies. So I don't know where they're gonna take this notion or whatever. It looks very, very detailed. This game looks amazing. It has a sense of realism to it. Of course, the graphics are portrayed in a kind of like Skyward Sword added more Wind Waker to it. But in an interview with Eiji Aonuma, he stated that the art style was inspired from anime, Japanese animation, which is welcome in my book because I love anime, and this definitely has that anime feel to it. Definitely in the Hayao Miyazaki films, Studio Ghibli, Princess Mononoke, it kind of screams Princess Mononoke to me a little bit, but you know, to all its own. And once again, we're walking out, or should we say we're riding out into a thing, and Shigeru Miyamoto and Eiji Aonuma has a conversation about when Star Fox Wii U is coming out before Zelda Wii U, and then Majora's Mask 3D is coming out before that. So that's all cool, and this trailer, this footage is just amazing. The shadow effects, the bloom is just perfect. I don't know if they're going to increase or decrease it from what we've seen here, because remember, with the Wind Waker HD trailer, when the Wind Waker HD was in development, it had a lot more bloom to it, and when the game came out, there was a lot less bloom, but it was a good amount of bloom. I think this is the right amount of bloom because I love bloom effects, man. Lens flares, I'm all about that. It has that light, warm, and at the same time cool air to the gameplay. Now, what is really cool is that here we pass by a bunch of horses. Now, a lot of people's like, oh man, do we get to raise our own horse? Can we get a new horse? Kind of like a Red Dead Redemption style element to it, but we don't know because they're talking in the background. They're just passing horses, and it's funny because you actually hit a horse. Oh my goodness, yeah. So we don't know if you can raise horses, if Link is going to be once again some sort of farmhand like he was in Twilight Princess. but that's all up in the air. But this game looks great, and I like to point out that AJ Aonuma stated that they're working hard and this game is going to come out 2015. Please, no delays, no delays. This game is just great. And I think we saw a cow in the background back there, like an orange thing. I want to say that over there is a cow, like some sort of cattle, because in the last trailer we saw goats. Now we see goats, a cow, horses in the wild. So I don't want to go on a limb, but I think that's a cow. You know, cows are not, you know, not something new to the Zelda game. This is Zelda games. We had that, basically Majora's Mask, Long Long Ranch, Romani Ranch, Ocarina of Time, all that good jazz. But man, this game just looks amazing, and I can't wait to see new footage from this, and I can't wait to see a subtitle from this. And from what we see, I want to say the title of this game may have to do with the energy-based something, or it may have to do with the Limitless Land. So I want to say Legends of the Limitless Land. So I just like to thank you guys so much for joining me on this discussion topic and analysis video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something cool. And if you have anything else that you want to point out from the Zelda trailer, leave in the comment section below, and I'll give you a shout out next time I do a video on this. So until next time, I've been HMK, and I'll check you guys there. Don't forget to subscribe.